Hello and welcome back to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. Season 1 episode will be written on the information of this podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by Womenflix and Entrepreneur Talks podcast. Feel free to drop a message if you would like to be our guest, if you would like to get our services, and if you would like to share your vision. Womenflix, Yola Bastos, and I hope you enjoy our session today. Today, my guest is Jasonmcclaren. He's an Air Force veteran, firefighter, and founder of business continuity and disaster recovery consultancy. Through public speaking and high-impact presentations, Jason helps businesses, employees, and organizations understand the importance of disaster recovery planning. Jason is here today with me to talk about his journey, how he created the business he did created. He don't have just one business, but 4, or we can say 5. But let me say, let's listen our conversation. Let's welcome Jasonmcclaren. Hello, Jason. Thank you so much. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. And how are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you as well. It's amazing. It's a pleasure. So, as you are aware, I'm already spoke about your profile or your description that you gave me, and I've got some questions to ask you. And
of course.
Is that all right? Good.
Of course, yeah.
Fantastic. So tell me, for how long did you serve in the Air Force?
When I enlisted, didn't know what I was going to do when I went. I just went to basic training, and they, put me through the ropes there. And then about my second to last week, they called me in our room and told me you're going to be a firefighter. So I was pretty excited about that.
Oh, wow. So you became a firefighter through the Army. That's right?
Through the Air Force, yes.
Army, sorry. Air Force is different. I know everyone. For me, it's Army, everything, but it's not. I know. Mm-hmm. So Air Force and Army is different thing, right?
Yes, we have several 5 or 6 branches now. Well, 6 branches now at the Space Force. But I wanted to do that. Did my 7 years. I planned on doing 20 years, but that was cut short. But I got out, and then I kind of started doing my entrepreneurial stuff.
Yes.
And that kind of held me over until I started working full time again. And so now I have a full-time job, and then my side hustles, which I call them, are, my businesses.
Great.
But yeah, it was a great endeavor.
So tell me about your company, your businesses. You've got a couple of things going on. So I have Isolence as the parent company, and that kind of evolved from my when I first started. It was McClaren Enterprises, and had some conflicts with some other naming infrastructure, so I kind of just changed it up, and I wanted to use the Air Force core values and kind of blend that into the name, because that's what, like I said earlier, kind of molded me into the person I am today. And so Isolence, it's like excellence, but with the I in the front, and isolence.com, and that, like I said, that's a parent company. And then I have my speaking companies, it's a 3-pronged company. It's got JasonMcclaren Associates is our training company. We do emergency preparedness, disaster preparedness, training.
training or consulting for companies. And then we have McClaren Weddings is a wedding company, and once again we present and do the MC things for weddings. And then I have my regular public speaking engagements where I go out and I talk about inspirational, motivational, or leadership type functions. And so that kind of all builds off that. And then I've got the Leadership Loading podcast is the other brand of that. And then we have a nonprofit arm as well. It's our Go Heroes. And that kind of builds off of all those. So.
Wow, Jason. So far, I think I heard about 5 companies, and you are only one. Amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wow. It's amazing because that's the entrepreneur life, right? Because we never stuck with one thing, and I believe like the more when you started, you never thought like you would go so far or create so many companies like you have now, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just I'm one of them people that goes 100%, and like the podcast, I kind of played with the idea years and years ago. I went to start Leadership Loading, and I've logged into something, and it's like you already have an account. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. I tried to do a podcast, years ago, and I've kind of adopted the mantra: just do something, and then. I think back then I kind of was, I don't know how to record. I don't know, I don't have any microphones.
Yes.
And now I've kind of just like said, I'm going to do it and knock it out. And I was sitting on my recliner one night and I had my laptop on and I was doing some other stuff with the other businesses. And I looked at my wife and I said, I think I'm going to do a podcast. And she just said, okay, whatever you want, whatever you think you need to do. And so I think probably 2 days later I had the URL and I had the hosting service set up and, Amazon myself some microphones and,
I know
started
what
recording.
You're talking. I feel myself on that. So I just started. Before we started, we never know. So let's just start it and see how it goes. And with the time, we grow. We learn a lot. And this podcast, how long you've been doing your podcast?
We started recording this in December, and the first episode posted in January of 2020. The first Friday of January. That's and now great. We post every Monday. So I think today we launched episode number 16 or 17 today.
Awesome. What is your podcast about?
What's that?
Your podcast is related with what kind of listeners or guests? What do you...
Yeah, it's called Leadership Loading. The main focus is helping veterans transition from the military to their new career. But we also do business entrepreneurship type talks, and then we have experts in their field come on and talk about what they're doing. So one of the podcasts today, or one of the episodes today was, how to be a resilient leader and cultivate relationships. And so we've been doing an 8-part series on resilient leadership, and that's a big thing in the military. So it kind of really helps when you're in the outside world. And our guest Pablo came on and he talked about how to cultivate relationships, especially if you're an introvert, which I consider myself an introvert, even though my wife would disagree. But some military guys are introverts, or we just have little quirks about us that we don't really trust people right away. And so cultivating those relationships is really important, especially on the outside. But we had a couple other guests come on and talk about their businesses and how they started their business and things you can do as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
We've had guests come on and talk about leadership in the emergency management sector, because that's kind of a closely related field to the military. And what did they do during a big disaster and that sort of thing. So anybody that's growing a business, starting a business, or wants to just climb that corporate ladder, if you're a frontline person and you want to become a supervisor or a leader, these are the kind of things we talk about.
That's fantastic. So all these companies, I think it's 5, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I kind of I consider it 4, because the speaking company is kind of just a branch of It just depends on what the person calls us for. We kind of put umbrella it underneath one of our other ones. It's three for-profits and then the nonprofit one.
Okay, and when it comes to your companies, how many people? I believe like when you started, you started by yourself, but now do you have more people working with you, or it's just you and your wife?
I started by myself, and I've got about 6 people now on a contract basis. Okay. So I don't have any full-time staff because we're just always on the go, and so
yes, I totally understand. Yes.
Yeah, we always so they're all under contract, and whenever something happens, we activate however many people we need, and then I have agreements with other companies in the similar sectors that I can call in some reinforcements if I need them, and for bigger projects.
Of course, because it's all like your businesses. You started a few years ago, right? It's not too long ago. And that makes things, we never know, because I'm an entrepreneur as well, and I have a couple of businesses going on, but I'm not able, I haven't been able yet to put people working with me. But I've been looking for other ways and helping people as well to learn. But at the same time, I'm growing. So, and that makes me, because I don't have profits yet to pay people full time, and that's one of the things that I found like it's quite hard. But I carry on, and I believe like it's gonna come to a point like I will be able to do that, and I believe like you've been through that as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I like the setup I have. If business is slow, my people aren't hurting because they've got their full-time job or another job. But when business picks up, I'm able to bring them in and they get some extra money, that they weren't expecting. So
yes, great. And when it comes to the public, what kind of public or type of public does your companies work with? What is your...
Well, really all kinds, obviously, with the wide breadth that we have, which is kind of why we've launched off, the different companies. But really higher education and healthcare are our 2 primary clients, especially on the emergency management and disaster preparedness side.
All related with military veterans, right?
What's that?
All related with Air Force or...
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. So we do healthcare outside, in the United States, and then we do like schools, colleges, school districts. But we work with all of them, and then with the weddings, we do that's our public outreach kind of. We work with a lot of brides and grooms and kind of work on their wedding day.
The wedding.
And then on
oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you do? What exactly do you do with the weddings?
We mainly do the ceremony. We do the officiating, the ministry part.
Oh.
And every once in a while we'll be asked to stay and kind of MC the reception if they're not, if they don't have a DJ or something like that.
Oh, wow. So, and then these weddings is all with Air Force veterans or military, or it's just random people from any kind of background, or anyone that wants to get married?
Yeah, that's one of our public ones. Anybody.
Oh, okay. You mentioned. Sorry.
To everybody, yeah. And then with the speaker bureau, we kind of do all kind of presentations through conferences or businesses. We go out and talk to them. The only business we have that's strictly limited to police and fire and military is the Go Heroes. It's limited to veterans and police and fire, and anybody that's a first responder. Those services are restricted for those people only.
Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing, like the work you're doing and helping so many people, because you've been there as well. You've been in the Air Force, and you know exactly how people struggle or how people the need inside the Air Force. And you've been doing so many things and outside of Air Force as well. That's well done. I just can say well done, and thank you for everything you've been doing. Amazing.
Thank you.
So, and tell me, Jason, how do you promote yourself, your companies?
So obviously we're really big on social media.
Okay.
We use several resources through Facebook ads and Instagram, and now we're on the TikTok. You ever heard of that?
Yeah. I'm on TikTok as well. I need to find it.
Yeah. So it depends on what we're advertising. As far as like the weddings, we're promoting really heavy on TikTok because that demographic is in that area. That's the people that are getting close to getting married. Obviously, I'm not going to promote my speaking on there, but we have done some emergency management type stuff on there just to be kind of funny and show the funny side of us. And but yeah, we do a lot of targeted ads through those social media.
Yes.
And then conferences is a big one, because if we go do an emergency management speech at a conference and there's 50 or 60 city leaders there or hospital personnel there, we're reaching out to them, and they're able to go back and justify us coming into their building and doing a training or something like that.
Impressive. Wow. That's really good. And in terms of, if I would ask you right now, if you would, what would you like to say to my listeners to encourage, and one word of encouragement or one phrase, I don't know, something, what would you say?
Like I said earlier, just go for something. If you have an idea, go ahead and go for it. I think a lot of ideas have died because someone thought of their idea and just never acted on it. Something as little as the pet rock back in the day. The guy made millions of dollars selling rocks to kids, and there's those. I think the most current edition would be like the fidget spinners that was popular a year or two ago. That's something that somebody found, and they just kind of made it into a toy and made millions of dollars on it. It's
that's great.
It's just taking your idea and going for it, or your passion.
And non-stop, right?
Richard Branson said, if you don't know how to do something, say yes and figure out how to do it. And
open to learn, right?
Yeah, you gotta everybody's got to learn. I mean, I'm still learning. Every day on my way to work, driving in, I'm listening to some kind of educational thing, or
that's right. Yeah.
If I'm working on paperwork or typing up a report or something, I've got my headphones on and I'm listening to somebody tell me something I don't know. So
yeah, great.
Be a continuous learner.
That's great. Yes. That's my way as well. And now for to the end, like for my last question is, I know we've been talking about social media, TikTok, etc. But how can people get in touch with you? Can you just provide something for my listeners, please?
Yeah, definitely. Isolence.com is my company's page, and then Jasonmcclaren.info.
Yeah. That
kind of goes to my bio, where you can see more about me and how to get in touch with me there. And I'm on all the major social media sites, and keep in touch with me.
Oh, good. So I've got all your social media information on the podcast description, and all description about yourself as well. But the only one I don't have is TikTok. And we can add that afterwards when we finish our call. If you don't mind, just send me and I will add if you're happy, because I want to make sure like everyone can get in touch in any way that they desire. And these days we got TikTok, and we can add it if it's cool.
Definitely.
If it's cool for you. And that's it. This is our conversation. I hope my listeners enjoy and get in touch with you, Jason. And I wish you all the best for your companies, for your life as a family, and for your family as well.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for putting this out there for everybody.
Yes, I want to share people's experience and desires and dreams, and they keep fighting. And for me this is amazing, because it makes me carry on as well and don't give up. and that's the aim. And I speak with you again soon for sure. And take care, Jason. Nice to talk to you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Okay. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening our podcast session today. If you would like to come back and listen again, you can find us on Anchor, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple iTunes. You can also go through our pages on Facebook or Instagram, and they will be there. Follow us, share, and leave your comments if you feel like. We would love to know more what you think about the podcast, and if you would like to be our guest, or if you are willing to create your own business, or struggling, or just want to pump, a jump, a change in your life. Okay, speak with you soon. Take care. Bye. See you next week.